This is Terrence Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions, coming to you today to talk to you about employment and jobs, and 5 reasons why to not look for jobs but create your own employment. I'm going to utilize this article, and this is going to be the number 1 reason to use as a backdrop to making my point. Silicon Valley is right. Our jobs are already disappearing. Stephen Hawking says that we are the most dangerous moment in the development of humanity, and the rise of artificial intelligence is likely to extend job destruction deep into the middle classes. That's just an excerpt from this great article I found out from thinkgrow.org, and Silicon Valley is right. Our jobs are already disappearing. And this is making a claim that through automation, which is the number 1 reason why not to look for employment and create your own employment, stands at the top of the list. 83% of jobs where people make less than $20 per hour will be subject to automation or replacement. Between 9% and 40% of jobs are already in danger of being maybe relevant due to technological change, with the most threats falling among the less educated. But it's not. This goes on to go further that between 2.2 and 3.1 million car, bus, and driving jobs in the U.S. will be eliminated by the advent of self-driving vehicles. Could you imagine 2 to 3 million jobs that was once a vast source of employment? Bus drivers, think about Uber and any other classes that go on in, cars that really provided people with employment and a decent income are now being eliminated due to automation. So that's number 1. Again, I want to stress again, automation is one of the main reasons why you should stop looking for employment and create your own. Number 2 is that the psychological factor of being fired through a machine. We never talk about how it feels that when you're not able to be employed and what that does to your self-confidence, and not having another means is constantly looking for someone else to provide employment for you. That psychological factor is not talked about enough, especially if you lose employment and the mass amount of people who go looking for jobs after it's over and they can't find any. What does that do to you psychologically? Number 3, it always keeps you dependent on someone else to provide your living standard. And as a male, and also even as a female, no one wants to have that kind of control over you. Creating your own employment, especially in information age, has become more easier than ever before. More easier is not the right term to use. It's more accessible to everyone than ever before. Easy is not a word that I would look like. Creating money is always takes time and effort, and you got to learn different things. But it's more readily available now than it's ever before. We continue on with the article itself. Okay, you're thinking, but this is all in somewhat distant future. This is all still in a somewhat distant future, since unemployment is only 4.6 according to the headlines. Actually, automation has already eliminated about 4 million manufacturing jobs in the U.S. since 2000. There goes the idea with the president's going by, I'm bringing back jobs to America, because 4 million manufacturing jobs in the U.S. since 2000, instead of finding new jobs, a lot of people left the workforce and didn't come back. With the advent of automation, it's not really talked about. Even if you bring some form of manufacturing back with automation, is it more costly for the employer to find a machine to replace you, even in a factory? And that's actually one of the biggest reasons why they won't want to keep you in, because the machine can work and do much more things than you could do without the form of being tired, wanting pay raises, or coming through as many mistakes. Let's go on with the article itself. Each 1% decline in labor participation rate equates to approximately 2.5 million Americans dropping out. The number of working age Americans who aren't in the workforce has surged to a record 95 million, up almost 500,000 in last month alone, with many of these being factory workers. Yes, there are 95 million working age Americans no longer in the workforce. The great displacement is already here and is set to accelerate. So right now, there are 95 million working age Americans no longer in the workforce. Now, part of this could be due to retiring and other factors. Like we got 10,000 strong retiring each day. But that still does not equate to the largest masses of the population that's not working. High rates of employment are linked to higher rates of substance abuse, domestic violence, child abuse, depression, and just about every other social ill. This is another reason why, again, finding and making your own employment is better than finding ways to make your own employment is much better than looking for employment itself. I mean, the article is just packed full of just giving me different reasons and truths here that, hey, we're now in the age where looking for employment is not the way to go. Number 5, and this is one that rings close to my heart. You're competing against so many other individuals out there if you can find employment. And as more people are competing, the less your chances and likely that you'll find employment in itself. Even with all the education, we're not taking consideration we live in a global economy, and there's billions of people out. Billions is maybe a strong word. Multi-millions of people across the world who also can work for a less wage than you can, especially in the United States. But again, the factor alone of automation should be a deterrent for you even thinking about putting yourself in the position to constantly looking for someone to take care of you. And we should assume that for millions of people, it's not going to work. Uber is going to get rid of its drivers as soon as it can. Its job is not to hire lots of people. Its job is to move customers around as efficiently as possible. I mean, I'm telling you, automation, no one thinks in terms of the idea of the employer. The employer's object is to make the mass amount of profit at the least amount of cost. When you're taking into consideration being an employer, and again, I was an employer, especially hiring people to do work for me in terms of for real estate and other factors. My object was to find the best contractor at the lowest rate to give me the most efficiency so I can make the most amount of profit. And I'm coming just from as an individual and a small aspect of small business and trying to just employ a couple of people to do a project for me in terms of rehabbing a house for rentals or something of that nature. Imagine if you push this 20-fold and put it into a large employer, what their thought process is, especially if the company is traded on the New York Stock Exchange or any other exchanges. Again, they're trying to maximize the profit because that's how they're able to even sell shares on the stock based on their quarterly performance. I'm not saying it's right or is inhumane. I'm just saying the times that we live in, this is the reality. But again, this article is just chock full of just nuts about where we're moving to. I want to cover another part here that just stood out for me too. And I'm going to get it right here. Read the last sentence again. We're confident that between 2 and 3 million Americans who drive vehicles for a living will lose their jobs in the next 15 years. Self-driving cars are the most obvious job-destroying technology. Again, 2 to 3 million Americans. Driving has been one of the biggest ways to kind of move in the middle class in terms of employment. You get a job as a truck driver, hit the road. That was a way for you to get, at least $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. And then with the advent of Uber and these other forms of employment through that process, even regular individuals who were not utilizing their car to the fullest extent was able to make employment as well. So you eliminate these particular aspects of these jobs, and you're going to see much more employment than we've ever seen before. What are they going to do about it? Stop looking for the government to do about it. Think about how you can do jobs yourself. And there's plenty of different ways of different modes based on your particular personality. You can find one. It could be just creating a video like I'm doing right now, talking about things that you're interested in. I'll probably do a number of videos of just information age and different jobs that you can create on your own to find your own employment that gives you the self-satisfaction, because we're all made to do something and we all have skills and talents that other people want. This is Terrence Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions, just giving you just a couple of reasons, at least 3, of why looking for employment is not the way to go. I probably gave about 6 or 7 here, but I'm just going to say 3 reasons why looking for a job is not the way to go, creating your own employment. And number 1 stops on the list is makes short of it with this article itself from thinkandgrow.org that our jobs are already disappearing. Until the next video, I'm out.